Yolette McPhee-McEwen in her 7th year, trying to get her team to the Elite Eight. The last time they did that, well, it's been a while. And Lauren Betts, so nice to see her smile. Such a tough year last year, had to take some time off. And this team has lost 2 games all year. You already referenced it. They lost to USC twice during the regular season in the Big Ten, but they got their revenge with a come-from-behind win in the Big Ten championship. 2 teams that came over from the Pac-12. Kiki Rice running the show for UCLA in their white uniforms. Hawkes underneath, left it a little bit short. This is Kennedy Todd Williams, the North Carolina transfer for Ole Miss. Iwalu, who transferred from UCLA, missed the shot. Let's take a look at the starting lineups brought to you by Capital One for UCLA. Kiki Rice, point guard for this team that led the Big Ten in field goal percentage.
And right away, you're going to see the physicality, the aggressiveness that Ole Miss is going to come out with on the defensive end, try to be disruptive.
And Rice draws the foul with just under 4 seconds left on the shot clock. And that's Ole Miss's MO. It has been since Coach Yo got there, right? The defense and trying, as you said, be disruptive, kind of muck things up. And if you play a team that can get on a flow offensively like UCLA, you can really alter the game.
Well, you think about the 2 losses to USC and the disruption on the defensive end caused them some problems, and that is Ole Miss's MO right there. And Christina Wally, you saw in the very first possession, going to try to push Lauren Betts off the block, force her to play a little bit further out from the paint.
Rice gets both free throws after being fouled by Sira Chinu, who is a freshman from Mali. Sadler.
Now look at how Dudelich is playing Madison Scott. She is fronting her, not allowing her to get into the on-ball screen.
Madison Scott, number 24 in blue. There's Todd Williams, in and out. Betts with her first rebound. She averages just under 10 per game and just under 20 points per game, which was second to Juju Watkins in the Big Ten. And when Lauren Betts gets it there, you might as well just start going down the other end of the floor.
And good patience by Kiki Rice to wait until Betts got in position, and then you see the impact on the other end of the floor. I mean, there's a reason that UCLA shoots it nearly 56% from inside the paint because of Lauren Betts, and then the way she impacts on the defensive end of the floor.
Lauren Betts is 6'7", a junior. All-American and the finalist for National Player of the Year. Scott into Todd Williams, who is bottled up nicely, and then Betts just grabs it away. Good defense there by London Jones. London Jones, number 3 in white, listed at 5'4". There she is with the basketball. Jones being defended by Todd Williams, who's appreciably taller. And now Rice, with a little bit of a mismatch inside. Chinu with the rebound. Sierra on the SEC all-freshman team. There's Scott, the leader of this team. Second chance. Iwalu got it knocked away.
Well, that's good D and good rotation by Dudelich to be able to get in and get a hand on that shot by Iwala.
Early substitution. Iwala goes out. Star Jacobs comes in.
And I think they're going to continue this rotation, bringing multiple players in to body up Lauren Betts on the interior, try to wear her down a little bit.
Ole Miss has now missed all 7 of its shots, but good hustle keeps it alive. 0 for 8, Betts with another rebound. Got 3 boards already for Betts. is posting up, asking for the ball, and gets another bucket.
Lorna Betts has great hands, and that pass wasn't right on the money. She had to go get it, keep Star Jacobs off of her. She had a double clutch around a secondary defender.
That's 2 for 2 from the floor to go along with the 3 rebounds. Scott missed everything. Lorna Betts hasn't missed anything.
No, she hasn't, and this is a great job of getting her the ball on the inside and the ability to double clutch, maintain the body control as Madison Scott comes over in the help side.
And this is just, this looks almost like it needs to be fact checked.
It's staggering, right? It's staggering. But her impact, you know, how do you guard her? At 6'7", you play behind, you try to be physical. No, you double her. She does a great job of facilitating. When UCLA's hitting from the outside, it takes a lot of pressure off of her. And then you bring in players like this, and you get Barker to go one-on-one on the block as well.
So many options for this UCLA team. That's a tough turnaround by Barker. Texas A&M transfer in her first year in California. Finally, Ole Miss gets one to go. It's Kirsten Deans, known as Kiki, has been coming off the bench for them for the last several games. And let's see, they're going to follow the charge on Betts. It's going to be part of the strategy for Ole Miss, no doubt, right, to try to draw those.
Absolutely. Good job, Star Jacobs. You know, making sure she's playing good D straight up and takes the contact. Understands that's a tendency of Lauren Betts' from a scout defensive standpoint.
Betts picks up her first foul. Ole Miss 1 for 10 from the floor. It was the 3 that we just saw from Deans. There's Deans, number 1. Has had her share of knee injuries in her career.
No, and you mentioned it. KK Deans was a starter at the beginning of the year. We had this team in November when they played on the road at NC State. Has been in and out of the lineup. Has handled it like a pro. You know, she's been really good from a leadership standpoint. She's adjusted to whatever this team needs.
KK, a grad student, now at her 3rd school. Went to Florida and also West Virginia, but her 2nd year at Ole Miss. Only had 6 starts last year, and then she tore her ACL. On the baseline, Scott with the miss. Lena Arnisalo, number 7, is a Finnish player, a freshman that Coach Corey Close really is excited about. Able to use her at the point guard position.
Well, she came in that game against South Carolina and was the difference maker, you know, right away. And she is somebody who comes in, averages 3.5 assists off the bench for the season. She allows them to put Kiki Rice and play her off the ball when they're on the floor together. And Star Jacobs on the offensive glass.
Jacobs with the 2nd basket of the game for Ole Miss. Only down 3, even though they're shooting the ball poorly. Arnisalo, there's the freshman Finn. Jones with the drive, but got cut off.
Yeah, you just see the movement defensively, the activity level by Ole Miss.
Shot clock at 6. And the ball goes in.
How about that by Dugalich? That's the shot you want to take, and off the bounce 3. That was good defense. Dugalich got the roll.
Started out at Oregon, now in her 3rd year at UCLA. Dugalich has had some extensive experience with the Serbian national team. She played in the Olympics a couple times. Jones. And terrific defense. Todd Williams with the step through, just left a little bit short. Betts has been on the bench for a while now for UCLA, so their offense going to look a little bit different. Trying to get it inside to Barker, but knocked away by Richardson. Time for tonight's Need to Know, brought to you by Intuit QuickBooks. You take a look at the top 4 scorers for UCLA. That class of 2022, very, very good for UCLA.
Good and deep.
And it doesn't even include Janiah Barker, who is in there as well. Let's go over to Holly.
Well, Lauren Betts, of course, in that class, but something really cool. Her sister, Sienna, is one of the top recruits in the country. She's actually not here tonight because she's at the McDonald's All-American game. And Lauren has said she will return for her senior season instead of going to the WNBA because she wants to play with her little sister, Sienna. So that class is going to be even better with this incoming freshman from Colorado, Sienna Betts.
I think that's incredible. The opportunity to play with your sister, who's also an All-American. I mean, certainly athleticism runs in the family, but what an opportunity for those two.
And great that Lauren, we get to see Lauren play another year. Her father was a pro basketball player in Spain, which is where Lauren was born. Her family moved back home to the States and Colorado, and there is a foul on UCLA. It is Kiki Rice picking up her first foul. Ole Miss shooting just 2 of 15 in this game. That is 13%. So Jacobs has a chance to help him at the free throw line, and Lauren Betts comes back in. Star Jacobs, also a graduate player. Sat out last year after transferring from Arkansas Pine Bluff. Stops at Houston and UT Arlington. For the 5th straight year, every NCAA Women's Championship game is on the networks of ESPN. For more information, go to ncaa.com. Your home for all 90 NCAA championships. Tampa is where the Final Four is this year. First weekend in April on a solo floater.
Yeah, that's too easy. You know, Ole Miss doing a good job of forcing Lauren Betts out of the paint, but she does a great job of finding teammates, and way to attack a closeout by Arnisalo.
3, no good. It goes out of bounds to UCLA.
The thing about this UCLA team is they're just so balanced and they're so efficient. You know, they don't typically take shots that are outside of their wheelhouse, outside of their strength. Arnisalo, great job of attacking in the float game. They're really disciplined. You know, they run a lot of actions. They get to the next one if they don't like what they have, you know, right away.
And we talked to head coach Corey Close yesterday. She said efficiency a lot.
Yes.
Efficiency is our superpower, is what she says about this team.
And it is one of the top teams in terms of efficiency on both ends of the floor, and Lauren Betts is one of the reasons why.
Betts shooting over 64% from the floor in the season. Good rebound by Iwalo, who played last year with UCLA and Betts.
How UCLA continues to, throughout the course of 4 quarters, handle this pressure by Ole Miss is going to be key. Not allow them to get sped up.
Betts put the ball on the deck, and a foul called on Ole Miss.
This is a good job by Iwalo. There was a mismatch on the backside because of the defensive rotation. She was able to get the offensive rebound and push that.
And for more on Christine, let's go over to Holly.
Well, when she went in the transfer portal last year, she's from Waco, and Baylor didn't offer her. So they tried to use that as some motivation in their last game against Baylor. It didn't really work. She didn't play her best. And so Coach Yo went up to her before this game and said, listen, did that approach work the last game? She said, no, you do not need this game against UCLA to be a redemption. She left there because Lauren Betts would get the most of the minutes. And she said, you are already redeemed. Just go out, play free, play your game. And Corey Close actually said they've watched a ton of Ole Miss games this year because they love Christine and they have supported her as a team. They've watched games together as a team to make sure they are supporting her from afar.
And here she is right now guarding her former teammate in Betts. And that is great support. And she left. Betts, obviously the starting center, and they have no answer.
No, I mean, there's so many things to like. We talked about her great hands. You know, she has great footwork, but her touch around the rim, understanding where she is in her positioning. I mean, she's a young lady who's just improved every single year.
Kennedy Todd Williams with the basket. Lauren Betts has scored the last 6 points for the Bruins and has not missed a shot from the floor. 5 for 5 with 4 rebounds. Shot clock off. Salo takes some contact. Ole Miss wanted the travel. They didn't get it, and then Betts is tied up.
Ole Miss is going to come on the dig every time Lauren Betts turns her head, and Iwala does a great job of tying her up in the one-on-one matchup.
In that first quarter, UCLA 62% from the floor, helped by 5 for 5 from Betts. Just 25% for Ole Miss. They are down by 7. We'll hear from their head coach when we come back. Welcome back to Spokane. 1 quarter in the books in this Sweet 16 matchup. As we have tonight's coaches interview brought to you by Symetra. Here's Holly.
Coach Yo, your team is not shooting the ball as well as they can, but your defense has kept you right in this game. What do you see out there?
Just a lot of missed opportunities. We can't miss layups. We're getting whatever we want. We got to be able to capitalize.
Lauren Betts has scored a lot lately, but you just got to tie up there. What are you doing that's working? What has to improve?
Well, we can't let her get an angle. You know, she's really good at scoring from angles. Now, if she keeps making turnaround jumpers, we're in for a long night, but we're willing to try that.
Thank you, Coach.
Lauren Betts has been magnificent all season long, and in this NCAA tournament, she's barely missed a shot.
Well, I mean, she's getting the ball right in the sweet spot. You know, she does a good job of understanding when to seal. Her teammates do a great job of waiting until she's in position, and you can see the efficiency in the paint.
Pam Ward, Stephanie White, and Holly Rowe. Winner of this game will take on LSU on Sunday in the Elite 8 on ABC. LSU with a big finish to defeat NC State in this building earlier today. Betts couldn't quite get to that one, and that results in a turnover. Ole Miss did not turn the ball over themselves in the first quarter. That's the 4th giveaway for the Bruins. These two teams, by the way, have never met in women's basketball. A lot on the line, and Jones gets a chance for some free throws. Check this, Star Jacobs, fouled by Dudley.
Star Jacobs gives them a different look than Christina Walla offensively because her ability in that two-man to dive hard to the rim, to finish off the move.
Tomorrow's Sweet 16 matchup start on ABC. Notre Dame takes on TCU at 1 Eastern, 10 a.m. Pacific, followed by Tennessee, Texas, and on ESPN from here in Spokane, Oklahoma and UConn at 5:30 Eastern, and finish your day with Kansas State and USC. And we certainly wish all the best.
Yes.
Send our whatever good karma there is out there for Juju Watkins with that devastating and sickening injury.
And heartbreaking to see that for Juju, and you know, I love how her team is really rallying around her and going to play this tournament for her.
Still a really good basketball team. The only team to beat UCLA this year. They did it twice during the regular season. Todd Williams guarded out there by Hawkes as the shot clock dwindles. UCLA, good job just getting their hands in the passing lane. 0.7 of a second.
And they're a team that can switch a lot, and so when you get into those clock situations, they can switch, they can use their length on the perimeter to be a little bit more disruptive. That pass was a little low, so Hawkes is able to get a hand on it.
So time to catch and shoot. Dick does just that. That's her turn to put the ball inside, but Dugalich with the miss.
Yeah, you got to finish those if you're Dugalich. You got a mismatch on the interior. Those are the ones you got to make them pay.
Oh, then Betts, that's not going to count as a block because there was a foul. They got Hawkes.
First personal, team second this quarter.
Hawkes, her brother, UCLA basketball player. As Kennedy Todd Williams heads to the free throw line. Second leading scorer on this team behind Scott, who only averages 12 points per game. Ole Miss does a good job of getting to the free throw line.
Yes, they do. They're a team that averages almost 21 free throw attempts a game. Now, they don't shoot it, but just over 70%. So every time you get an opportunity at the free throw line here today, it's going to be paramount to finish.
Todd Williams gets them both. They're 4 for 6 from the line as a team so far tonight, trailing by 4. Kiki Rice with the drive. Ball belongs to Todd Williams. Walla unable to score on Betts, but the ball stays with Ole Miss. 19 seconds to shoot.
Ole Miss is a team that crashes the glass. I mean, they average almost 16 offensive rebounds a game, so they are pursuing, giving themselves multiple opportunities.
Sadler over to Scott. Dugalich with the defense. Falling, no good, but a second chance for Iwala. Another chance. There's that offensive rebound we talked about. Sadler, a little bit of daylight over Rice, and she puts it in off glass.
To me, Sadler, when she gets an offensive foul on Kiki Rice right there. Tamia Sadler has found her way in this Ole Miss program, transferring over from Colorado. Again, we saw them in the fall when she hadn't quite figured out her positioning yet, right? And now she's in the starting lineup, does a great job of attacking, is comfortable, does a really good job right here of denying Kiki Rice and giving Rice a second foul.
Ole Miss on a 7-0 run that goes back to late in the first quarter. It's only a 2-point game. And UCLA getting the #1 overall seed in the NCAA tournament. There was some kind of controversies, originally some discussion as to whether that was earned. I'm sure all the South Carolina fans are going, no, should be us, but they almost lost to Maryland today. It's very, very difficult.
The parity is so good right now in women's basketball on any given night. And anyone can win, and you think about not just the #1 seeds that are going to contend for this national championship, but the #2 seeds. I think UConn is playing great basketball. They're healthy coming into the NCAA tournament.
Let's go over to Holly Rowe now.
Well, when the tournament bracket came out, there was some consternation from the other 3 #1 seeds. All of them thought they should have been higher. But Dawn Staley came on our show and talked about why she thought they were disrespected. They had a hard schedule, 13 quad 1 wins. But this is really classy. She actually texted Corey Close and said, I just want you to know, I wasn't saying you all don't deserve to be the #1 overall seed. I'm advocating for my team, but I need you to know how much respect I have for you, and that is nothing related to you and your team and what you've earned. I thought that was nice, and so did Corey Close. She thought that was really sweet for Dawn Staley to reach out and show her that respect.
Yeah, classy by Dawn, and I think at the end of the day, like, look, every team and every coach is competitive. Like, you want the best competitive advantage, and being the #1 overall seed is supposed to provide you that. So you're going to fight for that. You're going to fight for that for your team. Of course, the scheduling is important.
And remember, UCLA beat South Carolina by 15 points back in November.
In that game where UCLA was on fire from the 3-point line, really clicking on all cylinders as they've been consistent throughout the course of the year. And KK Deans knocks down a big shot.
Back to a 2-point game. Lauren Betts 6 for 6 from the floor. The rest of her team have only hit 3 of their 12 shots. They're being outscored 7-2 in this quarter. Ole Miss known for their defensive intensity. Betts, Haniwala, and she was fouled.
The beating that these post players take on a nightly basis, the physicality on the interior, the way it wears on you. But that possession was a perfect example of the patience by Lauren Betts. She's expecting the dig, the double. Madison Scott was playing two, playing in between. The patience of Lauren Betts to make sure she doesn't commit before she goes to work.
Walla called for her first foul. So Jacobs, number 7, guarding Betts. Betts right back to Hawkes for the bucket.
Gabriella Hawkes is so good at her off-ball cutting. I mean, that's just a great job of giving it up and attacking the rim with a cut, a scoring cut. You're either going to be a vacuum and force help rotation, or you're going to get a layup.
She was able to get her first basket of the night. Betts to Hawkes, and there's the freshman back in the game, Anasalo. 4 freshmen on this UCLA team. A little bit too much spin for Barker, but another foul has been called against Ole Miss. We'll take a quick timeout in Spokane. Thank you very much. And Lauren Betts is certainly doing her part. 6 for 6 from the floor, but the rest of her teammates have been struggling, as they mentioned in the studio. Janae, Andrea, and Elle. This is, if you're Ole Miss, you're pleased.
Yeah, and you also have to pick your poison, right? So you send 2 to Lauren Betts, and she does such a good job of finding her open teammates because she's going to look right over the top of the double team. So you take your chances with allowing her to score on the interior and cover everybody else.
Holly Rowe was listening into the huddles. Holly.
Well, the rebounding was the topic for Corey Close. She told her team, we separate when we rebound. We are not boxing out strong enough. We are not intentional enough. She challenged them to put a body on Todd Williams, who has 5 offensive rebounds already, 6 since I started this report. They want more offensive rebounds, be better with their body and box out, and their shading has to be a little bit better on where they're going for the ball.
Got the rebound that time on the miss. That's Jemiah Barker who came down with it. This is a UCLA team that is first in the nation in rebounding margin. But in this game, they are -2. Now -3 in that department. Todd Williams, back rimmed it.
Yeah, I don't know if that's the shot that Coach O wants. You know, she talked to us as we see the rebounding rates right there. She talked to us about, look, if we want to get out in transition and get a layup, if we don't have a layup, we got to make them work on defense.
That's able to roll one in. He is still perfect from the floor and has more than half of UCLA's points.
Remember that Kiki Rice is on the bench with 2 fouls, so we may not see her for the rest of this half. And you know, if not, she's going to be rested and ready to handle the pressure in the second half. And she's impactful on the offensive end because of her ability to get downhill, because of her ability to score off the bounce.
23 points in the second round win against Richmond, a season high, also a season high 4 threes. As they broke open a game that was tied at the half. Hawkes goes down, kept her dribble alive. And with the shot clock at 2.5. Betts got fouled.
First personal. Team third.
Star Jacobs picks it up, heads to the bench with her first, and now Betts gets a chance to get a rest. Betts averages just under 30 minutes a game, which is tops on this team, but 30th in the Big Ten. Dudley able to get her own miss, and then a foul again on Ole Miss. It's on KK Deans. That is the first on her. Lauren Betts being 10-2 over on the sideline. Alexa Blatt, the head athletic trainer for the Bruins. Ole Miss is just relentless, going after the ball. And a foul on Barker for trying to get the ball back, and she ended up sitting on
top of Iwala.
Yes.
Yeah, now this is the disruption, right? This is at times when we've seen UCLA struggle, particularly against USC. The disruptive, length on the perimeter, not allowing easy passes. When you run actions like this, it's about rhythm offense, about timing. And if you disrupt that timing and where they catch the ball just a little bit.
And they mentioned that against USC, who they played 3 times, lost to them twice. Sadler with the bucket. They also said Southern did that to them in the first round, and here they go forcing another turnover. Seven turnovers now for UCLA. Scott, who's been quiet, just 2 points, has missed 6 of her 7 shots. That's the first turnover for Ole Miss. Took them 18 minutes to do it. And then Hawkes with the sweet pass inside. Dulich. Let's go over to Holly Rowe again. Holly.
Well, guys, I saw Lauren Betts come out of the game and see some help from her athletic trainer. She was talking about, I don't know what's going on. I'm just so tired. She was kind of struggling to breathe, had to kind of calm down and catch her breath. That should show you the level of energy that she is exerting right now, 14 points. And this is interesting. Coach Yo told us yesterday, we are going to put Lauren Betts in 100 ball screens and try to tire her out. I think her plan might be working early because Betts struggling to catch her breath.
And not just what they're doing on the defensive end, making her do on the defensive end, but what they're doing on the offensive end. They're checking her at the free throw line. They're bodying her everywhere that she's going. And that's physically taxing the level of physicality that teams play with, and it's particularly defensively. And that's why you see the substitution with Iwala and Star Jacobs about every 2 to 3 minutes. They're rotating in and out.
Great strategy to keep somebody fresh in there. Monticello trying to go coast to coast. And count it. KK Deans doing what she has done the last several games, and that's giving them a big lift off the bench.
Yeah, she really is. She had 0 points, did not make a field goal in the first round matchup against Ball State. Came out with 13. 6 for 6 from the free throw line down the stretch against Baylor. I mean, this is a player who's been through it all. She talked about being humbled by injury, being humbled by being in and out of the lineup, but always wanting to do what is best for the team and impact winning for this team and program.
Dean's playing her 6th year of college basketball. Many stops, also some injuries along the way. London Jones almost forced the turnover. Jones had picked up her 2nd foul that sent Deans to the line. Bump outside on the perimeter. That will be a foul on Arnasalo, her first. Kiki Rice coming back in for UCLA. As you mentioned, 2 fouls. Kiki only has 2 points, both of them from the free throw line. Sadler shooting free throws for the first time tonight. Coverage of the NCAA Men's Basketball Championship continues tomorrow on CBS and TBS. For more information on tournament game times and networks, go to ncaa.com. Sweet 16 will be rolling on in women's basketball, both in Birmingham, Alabama, and here in Spokane tomorrow as well. LSU already punching its ticket into the Elite Eight to play the winner of this game in a couple of days. Betts still hasn't missed.
And again, you see another defender getting their chance at Lauren Betts and Carrera. But when she gets 2 feet in the paint, there's just not a lot that you can do. She stays on balance. She's got great body control. She understands how to read where the defender is.
A back shot that goes in for Carissa Richardson. Her second year at Ole Miss, formerly at Auburn. And look at this score. It's a 3-point game. But remember, they were down by 1 in their last game against Richmond after 1 quarter, and then tied at the half before they blew it open. But this Ole Miss defense won't stop. 1-point game. KK Deans off the bench. 9 points. UCLA can hold it for the last possession of the half. It's an 8-2 Rebel run. Get it to Betts. First miss. And the Ole Miss Rebels outscoring UCLA 17-11 in that quarter. Only down by 1 at the half to the #1 overall seed in the NCAA tournament. Lauren Betts is with Holly.
Well, Lauren, you are perfect from the field. How did you get into this game and get your rhythm so quickly against a tough defense?
I think it's just getting myself into deep position, just making it as easy as possible for myself, so I have to put the ball on the floor.
We saw you on the bench, like, you're struggling to breathe. What are they doing to make it hard? How are you feeling?
Yeah, this is the Sweet 16. It's a tough game. We're getting up and down. It's really fast. Both teams want to push in transition, so keep it up.
Go catch your breath.
All right, thank you.
Ole Miss hit its last 3 shots of that quarter to make it as close as it can get. Let's go to the Shea Moisture halftime report. Elle, Drea, and Shanae. We are in Spokane, Washington. This is the second of our Sweet 16 games today. Yes, your eyes do not deceive you. The #1 overall seed UCLA Bruins only up by 1 over Ole Miss. Time to get more, brought to you by Geico. And Steph White, Lauren Betts is playing really well.
Yeah, 8 for 9 from the floor. She's done a great job of getting low seals. Look at everybody playing on the perimeter, especially when you make that pass from lane line to lane line. Not a lot of help can be had. Right here, she has a mismatch. The help is coming from the backside, but she turns away from the help to finish on the interior. Strong with the ball, able to go get passes and be efficient. And for Ole Miss, it's been about production from everybody. They've been monsters on the offensive glass. This possession alone, they get 3 offensive rebounds. They have 12 for the game, so saving themselves, getting extra possessions, getting offense by committee. KK Deans was outstanding off the bench, giving this team a lift. And Sam Sadler going to work as well. Kennedy Todd Williams, multiple players on the floor getting on the board for Ole Miss.
Pam Ward, Stephanie White, and Holly Rowe with you. The winner of this game will play LSU on Sunday. Lauren Betts 8 for 9 from the floor. The problem is the rest of her teammates just took a combined 4 of 17. That's 24%.
Well, Kiki Rice was in foul trouble much of that first half, and great job by Sirachino of digging on that bounce by Lauren Betts. So look for Kiki Rice to try to get herself involved a little bit more offensively.
Yeah, Rice, as you said, 0 for 3, just 2 points, both from the free throw line. Betts gets the rebound. Lauren Betts in the last couple of games between this and Richmond is shooting 85% from the floor.
Well, she gets to her spots. She doesn't try to play outside of where she's finding success. She's patient in working her way down the lane.
And the key is that she doesn't get the ball in those positions, because once she does, it's over. Now there's going to be a foul. They're going to get Iwala for holding Betts. That's a second on her.
And Pam, if they're going to start calling that, that's going to be a difference in the ballgame. I mean, throughout the course of the first half, they were meeting Lauren Betts at the free throw line, really bodying her all the way down to the block.
The second 3 of the game for UCLA.
And that's what London Jones does. She's a 3-point threat. She's able to finally get a clean look and knock it down.
James' first points of the game. There's Rice, of whom we just spoke, and there's her first field goal.
And she's so good at driving down that left lane line, finishing around the rim. She can be a little bit more aggressive now, coming in with renewed sense with not being in that foul trouble in this third quarter.
Todd Williams rolled one in and out. And now Rice comes up with the rebound. UCLA outscoring Ole Miss 5-0 in the first minute and a half of this quarter. Winner gets LSU. Another three, this one for Rice, and the Bruins have come out of the locker room on fire. It's an 8-0 run, timeout, Ole Miss.
Now Kiki Rice right away, aggressive to the rim. You knew she was going to step up, and then gets an open three on the kick out. Lauren Betts was dominant in the first half, and there wasn't a double, but there was a dig. And look at her trying to read, where is this dig going to come from? She's patient, she's poised. Once it happens, she reads. Kennedy Todd Williams comes, it's one dribble, and it's right back out to Kiki Rice for the open three. And we saw this in their second round matchup against Richmond as well. Lauren Betts goes to work in the first half. In the second half, she starts finding her open teammates. With the spacing that UCLA has, their ability to knock down shots is critical to continuing to have open space for Lauren Betts to go to work.
Getting her other teammates involved. She averages about 3 assists per game, and they're off to a great start. Coach O had to call the timeout, and Deans off the bench. Picked up there by Richardson. Now, interesting, Coach O called that timeout. Let's hear what they talked about with Holly.
Well, she was so frustrated. She said, we've only given up 1-3 all game, and you give up 2 in just a couple of seconds there. They go on an 8-0 run, and they didn't even earn it. She wants them to wake up. She said, you have got to want to fight right here. She wants them to be a little bit more locked in defensively, show some more fight, drew up a really beautiful play for KK Dean. She just missed that, but they got a nice offensive rebound putback. She said, if you have open shots, you have got to make them.
Yeah, and I think defensively, again, you're going to challenge Lauren Betts to beat you by herself. But when they do dig, the timing of that is important. Lauren Betts is patient on the offensive end. That's something that you have to grow into. She knows it's coming. She waits to see where it's coming from, and she makes the right play.
Shot clock now into single digits. Betts was calling for it. Hawkeyes, that's a tough turnaround. Betts has to get it up in traffic, and she does it. She hits it. So Betts with her first basket of the game, of the half, pardon me. And UCLA's first 8 points scored by people other than Betts in this quarter. And then the block of Wally. Rice, Dugalich, Betts again. And this time finishes with the left hand.
Pam, I just continue to be so impressed because the physicality that they're playing with Lauren Betts, she's able to stay on balance, she's able to withstand the contact and still maintain an incredible efficiency.
Sadler with the basket, half a dozen in the first half. Lauren Betts, UCLA's first AP first team All-American women's basketball player. With their first 30-point, 10-rebound, double-double in the NCAA tournament.
Lauren Betts right here gets her hand on that as Iwala starts to go up. And then on the other end, I mean, watch the pound. I don't know how that's not a foul because it's extension of the forearm right there, but the pounding, she takes it, she stays on balance. She's able to maintain balance and play through the contact. And that's a growth area for her. You think about when you come in as a young player and you get in the weight room now and you get stronger and you understand low center of gravity.
Another three, their third of the quarter. That's London Jones with her second. Biggest lead of the game. 12-point advantage. Betts that time called for the foul with Jacobs driving. That is 2 on Lauren.
Team first.
Coming back into the game now for Ole Miss is Madison Scott, their leading scorer, only 2 points in the first half, missed 7 of her 8 shots, yet they were still able to keep it close.
Yeah, she struggled offensively. It feels like she's rushing a little bit sometimes when she gets the ball.
It was Madison Scott who took that chance with Coach Yo coming in. This is her 5th year. And since she came to campus, things have really turned around for the Rebels. Saved it that time. Great play by Scott. Dean's doing a lot of dribbling, and then it's kicked by Rice. That's a break for Ole Miss. They'll get 10 more seconds on the shot clock.
Yeah, and KK Dean's talking to her team about maintaining spacing. They're cutting on top of her, and that just allows the defense to collapse.
So Rice goes out, and the backup point guard, Arnisalo, comes back in. Got some experience at the beginning of the year when Rice was out hurt as the starting point guard. Barker boards it. And UCLA has a lot of depth at that 4 position. Leading Barker inside to Betts. Goodbye.
There's just not a lot you can do about it. KK Dean stayed a little bit longer. You have to guard London Jones coming. She's hit 2 threes, right? You got to guard her as she comes up the middle. She comes up the gut.
Barker got her hand on her to slam the ball. Ball stays with Ole Miss with 13 seconds left on the shot clock. Barker, highly recruited when she came out of high school in Marietta, Georgia. Spent a couple of years at Texas A&M. Her first year at UCLA. Jacobs just wanted to stay away from Betts. Shot clock dying. Deans has to chuck it up, and that is a turnover for Ole Miss. So Lauren Betts and UCLA up big.
Now, there's not a lot you can do about that. She gets the ball in that kill zone.
Welcome back. It is time now for our Player Spotlight, brought to you by Hilton Garden Inn. And we want to showcase and shine a bright light on Madison Scott. Coach Yo says she is Ole Miss women's basketball. This young woman has poured thousands into the Oxford community. Free camps for kids. She supplied 39 kids with Christmas gifts this year in Memphis. She has done free clinics and camps in the Bahamas when they go there to play in preseason tournaments. She has given so much back to this Ole Miss community. She said, you know, when I was looking at schools, I'd kind of crossed Ole Miss off my list, and then I got a call. I saw the caller ID, and it was Coach Yolette. And she said, you know, I just built an important relationship with her right from the bat. They talked every day moving forward. She signed and built something special, and we just wanted to send a special shout out to Madison Scott for all that she has done for the Oxford community with her foundation, the Maddie Scott Basketball Foundation. She continues to uplift young people everywhere for what she's doing on and off the court.
Thank you, Holly. Really, it was a gamble, and Coach Yo talked about that. That Yo said, you know, I was kind of naive coming to Ole Miss, and she thought that Madison Scott was too, but things certainly have turned out well for them.
Yeah, they have, and you know, you get a player like Madison Scott who chooses your program, who believes in your vision, who is the ultimate leader and teammate. And you know, Madison Scott has played a lot of different roles for this program, and she has uplifted it. There's no doubt about it. But the relationship that she has with Coach Yo, her very first phone call, right, was to Madison Scott. The relationship that she has with her, and that's a relationship that they'll have for years.
And Scott is in her 5th and final year from Indian Head, Maryland, right outside of Washington, D.C., and making Oxford certainly her second home. And she came here to try to elevate this program, and has certainly done that, as they are in their 4th straight NCAA tournament, 3rd straight Sweet 16. Last time they were in the Sweet 16 was 2007 when they got to the Elite 8. Armini Price,
yes,
who is in the building today, was part of that. Carol Ross, the head coach, and they upset Maryland in the second round. The year after Maryland won the national championship, brought all their starters back, and Armini Price just steamrolled through the Terrapins.
Look, I remember going to watch them in that Sweet 16 and Elite 8. I was coaching in Chicago at the time. We drafted Armini Price. She became the WNBA Rookie of the Year. She worked on Coach Yo's staff for a couple of seasons as well. And Coach Yo flew her and her husband Reggie out here for this matchup so that she could be here and experience this with this team today.
Armini Price, one of the good human beings, certainly, that we have come across, and she is here tonight. And what a nice gesture. They put her on the team charter, she and her husband. And Sadler and the rest of Ole Miss, they're not gonna give up on this one. Being outscored 19-6 in this quarter after being only down 1 at the half. And that's a nice find. Duluth into Jones, but she couldn't finish.
Well, this is an Ole Miss team that is used to playing from behind. They're used to having to scrap away. And sometimes when you look at the stat sheet, it doesn't look like they should win the game, but they do it because of plays like that. Getting extra possessions on offensive rebounds, getting extra possessions by turning teams over.
Walla with the bucket. Neither Rice nor Lauren Betts are on the floor now, and Corey Close just told them both to get into the game. And they will be coming in now. Speaking of Armini Price, there she is.
Yeah, one of the best human beings around, there's no doubt about it, but certainly an outstanding player here at Ole Miss and an outstanding player in the WNBA. And she looks exactly the same as she did back in 2007.
Yeah, when she played. Trying to get back to the Elite 8 for the first time since Armini's senior year. They're doing it against the #1 overall seed. Shot clock winding down for Rice, who had to step around and threw it away. A little chancy pass trying to get it inside to Dudley. That's the 10th turnover for the Bruins, who average about 15 a game, and only 2 for Ole Miss. Outstanding job of hanging on to the ball. Jacobs ran into Lauren Betts, and that's 3 on Betts.
Bruin foul 51, Lauren Betts, her third. Team second.
Lauren Betts comes right across that arm with the right hand, and just got to stay disciplined in those situations. I bet it's hard, right? It's tempting because of her ability to block shots, but staying disciplined in those situations, it makes it a tough shot to shoot over that 6'7" outstretched arm.
Betts is an elite shot blocker, averaging 3 per game. Jacobs just 2 for 7 from the line. 66% on the season, gets to the line more than any other Rebel. One out of 2 on that trip. Now some pressure after the made free throw. Ole Miss loves to do this. They break it. Rice waits for the rest of her teammates to come into the front court. And a little bit too much contact out on the perimeter. Foul on Sadler. That is her 3rd.
Kiki Rice,
Sends Kiki Rice to the free throw line. Baker leaves, Gardner comes in. Part of that depth at the 4 spot that we talked about for the Bruins. Kiki Rice coming into this game had 14 assists and just 1 turnover in the NCAA tournament. 4 more assists tonight. Sadler. Pull up. Got the bounce.
And you're going to see Ole Miss, every made bucket, they're going to come with this full court pressure. Good timeout called by Gardner. You don't want to get anxious and turn it over in that situation. Those are momentum changing plays, so good call.
30-second timeout. Called by
UCLA having a tremendous year this season. For more on them, here's Holly.
Well, the last time UCLA lost was a tough competitive game on their home court for the Big Ten championship against USC. And after that game, there was just so much anxiety and tears and sadness. So the players called a players-only meeting at 7 a.m. the following morning and watched that USC game back together. They said there were a lot of hard truths. Players were talking about what they were doing wrong, but also pointing out, you've got to get this screen, you've got to make this cut, what other people could do to hold them accountable. And we said, how did that game prepare you for what's next? And they said, well, USC pressures, gets a lot of deflections. They're very strong defensively and physical. We feel like that USC game is a good preparation for Ole Miss, the way they play defense. So we'll see if they learned that lesson from that game, because they haven't lost since. See if they can turn it around here against this full court pressure.
Yeah, and one of the things that Lauren Betts talked about was Charlize Ledger-Walker, who has not played this season after suffering an injury last season, and her leadership and her basically being the coach in that locker room, going up and stopping the film and talking about execution.
And an offensive foul called on Gardner for the illegal screen.
And there's Charlize, and the transfer from Washington State has a lot of great experience. And
you can see why Corey Close is a little flummoxed.
yeah, maybe just the lean in and the wide base.
Ledger Walker, what a pickup she will be at a season-ending injury at UCLA in January. That was a game in which Lauren Betts didn't play. Remember, Washington State upset the Bruins last year, but lost Ledger Walker. And Todd Williams knocking it down. 9-2 run, cuts the lead back into single digits. Betts spins for two more.
And again, you're forcing her to fade away. She's still doing a good job of finding the glass, of knowing where she is on the floor. I mean, she's an incredibly skilled and aware big.
And bounced off of Betts. That's a tremendous hustle by Jones to save the ball. Trailing the play. The lefty puts it up and in. On to Jones. Defense on one end and offense on the other.
Yeah, rewarding her for the hustle play.
Jones, a junior from Riverside, California. Set the UCLA single season record for most threes last year. Still their best three-point shooter this season. Betts comes up with another rebound as she is 2 away from a double-double. Remember, Betts has 3 fouls and still went after it and got the block.
Well, we've talked a lot about her patience, her passing, her reading ability, but I'm obsessed with Lauren Betts' feet. She told me the reason she has good feet at 6'7" is because she was in a hip-hop class when she was just less than 8 years old. This was in Spain, where she was living with her dad as a professional player, and she said, I really think that hip-hop class, as I was growing and getting taller, helped me learn how to move my feet, have lots of coordination, and we've seen that here tonight.
And she certainly does move well, as you said. 6'7" now, and she played soccer, and Holly wondered if it was the soccer, and Lauren just kind of laughed and said, no, I was no good at soccer. It was the hip-hop. And there's so much skill, and there's a tremendous article on ESPN.com that if you have a chance, you should read it, about Lauren Betts. Aishwarya Kumar wrote it about the bullying that she went through, and it was a really dark time. She was hospitalized, had to get away from the program, and has been revived now.
Yeah, I mean, I think the amount of courage that it took Lauren Betts to speak about that publicly, certainly understanding the impact that it can have on a lot of young people that go through that and experience some of the things that she experienced, and sometimes uncomfortable in her own skin, being as tall as she is, but understanding the blessing that is also coming with it, and she is taking full advantage.
And has bounced back with just an amazing year. Leach couldn't field the rebound cleanly. And I don't know how that can be UCLA ball, right?
It looked like Madison Scott might have tipped it out. I can't tell from even the replay if it was.
Okay.
But it did look like Madison Scott got a hand on it.
All right, Scott did get a hand on it. So about 4-second difference between the two clocks. Rice. To the reach. A little bit wide left, and Ole Miss, if they hurry, could get a decent shot off. Todd Williams spinning and hitting. Kennedy Todd Williams, the veteran, going coast to coast. UCLA outscored Ole Miss by 10 in that quarter. When we come back, it's Holly and Corey Close. We are back in Spokane, Washington. 1 quarter to go in this Elite 8 matchup, UCLA or Ole Miss. Either the winner will play LSU in the Elite 8. Time for our coach's interview, brought to you by Symetra.
Well, Coach, every time it seems like you get some separation and things are starting to pull away, they come fighting back. What concerns you going into this 4th quarter?
Our guards have got to defend ball screens better. They're getting to their mid-range game way too early, and we got to get early help, and we got to do a better job on the boards.
Offensively, Lauren's doing her job. Who else needs to do something?
Well, I think it's when Lauren's doing her job, it's because our team's doing our job. So we need to get more people attacking the paint, but until they stop her, our team needs to work together to get the ball to Lauren.
Sounds great. Thank you, Coach.
Thank you.
As we take a look at tonight's Capital One rewarding performance, it is indeed Lauren Betts.
Well, she's got 24 points on the night. She had 8 in that 3rd quarter. And she's doing such a good job of getting low position, of finding her open teammates when she does see the doubles or the stunts or the digs. But incredibly efficient on the interior. She works really hard to get that low post position. She stays patient. She goes to get the ball. She's been aggressive on the boards and defensively as well.
Pam Ward, Stephanie White, and Holly Rowe with you from Spokane. This will be the last game of the day. South Carolina and Duke winning in Birmingham. They will play each other on Sunday. The winner of this game gets LSU. Scored the last 10 points of their game to beat NC State earlier tonight in this building. And another whistle.
That was number 0-2, second personal. Team first.
Chinu picks up her 2nd foul. Freshman from Mali, who has not scored tonight, averages 11 points per game. Inside to Betts. Unstoppable.
Yeah, she just really does work for her position. You know, so often you see bigs, especially long bigs, that don't sit low, right? They don't work necessarily to get good position. They just want you to throw it over the top. She works for her position, possession by possession.
Playing with 3 fouls. Saved in. Rice does not have numbers, so holds up.
And this is part of the growth of Kiki Rice. And it would have been easy to just attack and try to make something happen. She backs it back out, gets them into offense. She talked about her growth in leadership and understanding the game. Great cut.
Hawkes streaking down the baseline for her 2nd basket.
And then how much she's worked on her shooting. You know, her ability to be able to stretch the floor and knock down the 3.
And Betts cutting off KK Deans, who kept her dribble alive and drew a foul.
Good save by Dugalich. Looked like maybe that did hit the stanchion, and then able to get out in transition. Kiki Rice did such a good job of making sure they ran offense, and Hawkes doing what she does best, that off-ball cutting.
Hawkes on the other end picked up her 2nd foul and sends Deans to the line. Coming up next, SportsCenter with Stan Barrett and Linda Cohn in the Pacific Time zone. All the highlights from the Wild Sweet 16 and the women's tournament. They'll also look at the men's tournament. Warriors and Bucks have their superstars back on the floor. Check it out. SportsCenter on ESPN and the ESPN app. Deans delivers at the line and then is subbed out for Sadler. And after the made free throws, as always, the pressure. Hawkes looking inside to Betts. Jacobs came over with a double. Shot clock down at 7 as Betts comes out to set the screen. And Rice goes all the way down the lane.
Again, you pick your poison, right? Lauren Betts kicks it back out. UCLA stays patient. She sprints up to an on-ball screen. And Kiki Rice is dangerous when she gets downhill.
Rice joins Betts in double figures now with 11. And Lauren comes up with another rebound. That is her 9th. And 1 rebound away from her 19th double-double on the season. Rice again, cutting into the lane. Long 3, in and out. The ball stays with UCLA.
Well, Kiki Rice loves this downhill drive to the left. Nobody comes to help. She reads it, goes all the way to the rim. So she couldn't quite get into a rhythm in that first half. She was saddled with those 2 early fouls and has been aggressive and assertive in this second half.
9 points here in the second half after just 2 in the first. Betts lost it. Ball goes over to the Rebels. 13 turnovers. UCLA is a team shooting 60% from the floor, certainly helped out by Betts 13 for 14. Conversely, Ole Miss just 31%. Todd Williams ultimately lost it. Hawkes with the layup. Now the lead has grown to 17, which is the biggest of the game for UCLA. They have led from the very beginning. Dean's not going down without a fight.
Well, Portlo's talked about it in her interview with Harley. Coming up those on-ball screens, they're getting to that mid-range too easily. And then this is what they do, right? They get themselves back in ball games with that defense.
Turnover forced by Chinu. But the ball goes back to UCLA.
Well, Kennedy Todd Williams loses it right here. And UCLA able to get out in transition. Hawkes with the easy 2.
Number 7, Elena Arnasalo.
6:17 left to go. Arnasalo in to play the point. Some contact and a moving screen. An offensive foul called against UCLA.
Jones, her 3rd, team 2nd.
That is the 3rd on Jones. So both London Jones and Lauren Betts are out there playing with 3 personal fouls, with just over 6 minutes left to go. Betts, by the way, has not fouled out of the game this year. Defensive Player of the Year in the Big Ten. And there's her double-double. Lauren Betts grabs the rebound. And there is her 19th double-double. Tied for 3rd most by a UCLA player in the last 40 years, 31 in her career. And she gets a nice ovation. There's a good contingency of UCLA fans behind their bench, and Lauren gets the standing ovation.
UCLA has to be happy, right? They get to stay in the same time zone.
Yeah.
not often that happens when you go to the next round, move on to the regions.
It's a 5-second violation. Hawkes could not get it in time, but whoever gets out of this region has to go from the extreme northwest of the United States to the extreme southeast in Tampa. The games will be played on Friday and Sunday, but at least this is one day earlier than the other guys. But they're in Birmingham, they're a lot closer.
Well, and we have another round of games tomorrow that will be played on Monday, that Elite Eight games on Monday as well, and that's a short turnaround.
Sadler driving the lane and drawing another foul. And the specialties for Ole Miss as they try to extend this game.
Fourth personal, team third.
That is 4 on Jones.
Well, it's a good way to do it. You get an opportunity to chip away at the foul line, no time running off the clock. We talked about how Ole Miss, they average almost 21 free throw attempts a ball game. Putting them in is going to be important.
Jimmy Sadler at the line for Ole Miss.
They're only 9 of 15 in this game. That's 60%. Jones in her 4 fouls goes out. Rice comes back in. Sadler, her first year at Mississippi, spent 3 years at Colorado and 1 year, her freshman year, at Washington. Here comes the pressure. Get it over the midcourt line. Remember, Betts is out of the game.
Barker has a mismatch right now.
Miss can't get it into her. Now Hawkes sees it, gets the lob in. And Barker on the second chance took advantage of that mismatch.
Well, good patience by UCLA to be able to get to it eventually.
Sadler elevates. Scott kept it alive, but Hawkes brought it in. Lauren Betts will come in. The next opportunity. 26 points, 10 rebounds. And Salo, now with 6 seconds left on the shot clock, stops, pops, and drops. Good poise there for the true freshman. The answer, the three-pointer for Kennedy Todd Williams. She is now into double digits. Betts gets back in the game when we come back. Let's check out today's game track brought to you by Invesco QQQ. Lauren Betts chewing them up inside.
Well, she gets to her spots, and she does a good job of getting 2 feet in the paint. Her teammates find her 13 for 14 from the floor.
And that one miss was right at the end of a quarter. But Lauren Betts has been practically perfect. She's got the 24 points on the day. Or 26 now, 13 to 14, the 10 rebounds, which is another double-double, her 19th of the season. Timeout taken as Rice was cornered by this Ole Miss defense.
30 seconds on that ball by the Bruins.
So Lauren Betts, this is tonight. When she's on the court, her team is plus 20. When she's off, they're in the negative numbers. And that just shows you the impact she has on both ends.
Yeah, she really does. I mean, you know, 6'7" frame, her ability to be so efficient on the offensive end, and the way that she alters shots on the defensive end of the floor. I mean, this is an Ole Miss team that usually does a really good job of getting downhill, getting to the paint. And when 6'7" is on the floor, that makes it a little bit more difficult. They've adjusted. They've been able to knock down some mid-range pull-ups, but that's always in the back of your mind.
Lauren Betts, in addition, 26 points, 10 rebounds. She has 3 blocks on the night. Trying to get her team into the Elite Eight.
UCLA has 7 seconds to get it across half court. Had to use that timeout when they were trapped in the corner.
Delay game warning issue against Ole Miss. Crossing the back line.
So Madison Scott crossed the line when she was trying to defend the inbounds pass.
That's a delay game on Ole Miss because of that.
As you mentioned, they have to hurry to get it over. Lauren Betts with a big-time collision, and they're going to get Betts for her fourth personal foul. Kiki Deans very slow getting up.
Yeah, Lauren Betts is trying to run down the floor and runs into Kiki Deans.
Deans at 5'8", Betts at 6'7".
Second personal. Team third.
Okay, we could change that. The foul not on Betts, but was on Kiki Deans, her second foul. Usually they pointed to Betts, but say it's on Deans. Rice hit by Scott, and she'll head to the free throw line. Scott picks up her second, and now she heads out of the game. What could be her last collegiate game for Ole Miss. Second team All SEC this year, first teamer last year.
Kiki Rice.
So important to this Ole Miss program. Beat Baylor in Waco to get here.
Well, Ole Miss has tried to control tempo by using a lot of the clock in this end of the floor. You can't really afford to do that now. You've got to try to look to move it a little bit quicker, still stay disciplined, and every made shot, they're going to be up, pressure in the basketball.
Betts came out to alter the shot by Deans. And they have the matchup with Betts and Jacobs. UCLA, on the other hand, trying to use up some of that clock, but now they got to go. Rice lost it, and it's Ole Miss basketball. 17 turnovers now for UCLA. Ole Miss has scored 12 points off of turnovers tonight.
Well, Ole Miss has just struggled from the floor. They're getting themselves extra possessions off of those turnovers, off of offensive rebounds, but they have struggled to put the ball in the hole.
Just 9 points in this quarter. Make it 11, Jacobs.
Basket by star, Jacobs.
Hawkes gets it into Betts, who turns and scores with her left hand.
And Pam, that's Hawkes making that pass from the logo, right? From the logo, because they're tight on the perimeter and because Lauren Betts does such a good job of showing her numbers, they're able to make those long passes. If you're Ole Miss, though, you got to have a little bit more ball pressure. It can't be that easy.
Because that's always it. When you try to stop someone like Betts, all the coaches tell you that, right? You got to have ball pressure. You got to keep the pass from getting in there. Easier said than done.
Well, oftentimes you don't expect it to come from the logo, but when you've got a target like Lauren Betts, you're able to do that. And you know, Ole Miss is guarding the three-point shooters.
Betts draws the line, or draws the foul and heads to the line. Pardon.
Yeah, you see how far out Hawkes is, but when you're tight on Kiki Rice on one side of the floor, you're tight on Dugalich on the other side of the floor. It creates that space.
Lauren Betts at the free throw line. for the first time tonight. Gets there about, on average, takes 5 free throws per game. But only a 61% shooter. One out of 2. Follows up the 30-point performance against Richmond in the second round, now has 29. Trying to go back-to-back with 30-point, 10-rebound games, which had never happened in an NCAA game in UCLA history. And she's trying to go back-to-back, 1 point away.
Madison Scott.
Just her second basket of the game. Now putting the pressure on Rice. So we're inside 2 minutes. Rice gathered the ball, and Lauren Betts has 31 points and 10 rebounds, her 4th 30-point game this season and in her career. 1 of 3 with multiple 30-10 games in the NCAA tournament. Brittany Griner and Elena Deladon, who was absolutely brilliant, leading Delaware into the Sweet 16. And Betts, Rice, Hawkes come out to a standing ovation for the UCLA faithful. 17 points clear of Ole Miss with just 1:33 left to go.
And Pam Holly alluded to that players-only team meeting after that loss to USC. And when you have, and this team talks about it, a player-led team, right, that are playing to their principles of what they're about, and they hold one another accountable, you can do a lot of really special things. And you know, I think this is a UCLA team that feels a little slighted, right? That they feel like they haven't quite gotten the respect that they deserve, but they're going to let their play speak for themselves on their quest for a Final Four berth.
A technical foul has just been called on Ole Miss and Star Jacobs.
Star Jacobs. Followed by a technical foul.
Frustration now for the Rebels, who are seeing their season slip away.
London Jones.
London Jones at the line, an 80% free throw shooter. And there for the first time tonight. UCLA has led this game from the very beginning. They're trying to go wire to wire with the lead for the 13th time this season. Jacobs heads out. UCLA, LSU. They did not play this year. Should be an interesting game coming up on Sunday. That will be a game on ABC. And we get to see Lauren Betts again. Can she go 30-10 3 games in a row?
Sure she can, right?
She's Lauren Betts.
Yes, she absolutely can. Although I'm sure that LSU is going to have something to say about that.
LSU with a gutty performance today, scoring the last 10 points of the game against NC State.
Anissa Morrow was just dominant.
Oh, goodness.
I mean, she was on another level. She has been playing inspired basketball.
If you like post play, Morrow and Betts, sign me up.
Samaya Smith may very well be the X factor for LSU.
She had a tremendous game earlier today. Deans comes away with it. Tried to come back from knee injuries. And foul call with just under 45 seconds left to go. An Ole Miss team that won 22 games this year. And Kim Mulkey, and if you weren't with us earlier, that is quite an outfit. still got it on. Sometimes she'll change and get a little cash. She's taking photos with the people in a Michael Jackson-esque outfit. Missing the glove.
I like that. Photos with the people. Well, it's going to be a dogfight. There's no doubt about it.
2 more games coming your way from Spokane tomorrow, including UConn. Paige Beckers making it official today that she will indeed enter the draft. Ole Miss fighting till the very end. The UCLA Bruins. 33rd win of the year against 2 losses, both of them to USC.
Oh, and how I love so much in those USC-UCLA matchups to see the great Ann Myers-Drysdale and Cheryl Miller.
Yep.
Reggie Miller there as well, checking out the rivalry, the packed houses in both venues.
Walu with the block, and Ann Myers played in the pre-NCAA era, but she was a 4-time All-American.
Yes.
She had a quadruple-double at UCLA. That kid could play a little bit.
A little bit.
But this UCLA team, UCLA won a national championship, AIAW with Ann Myers, but this UCLA team trying to get to their first NCAA Women's Final Four, and Corey Close, California native herself, getting them one step closer. Lauren Betts tonight, 31 points, 10 rebounds, 3 blocks. And we'll see her against LSU on Sunday. What a great year for Ole Miss. 22 wins. They get to their 4th straight NCAA tournament, their 3rd straight Sweet 16. They will fall to UCLA. They're going to call a foul right before the final buzzer. And check the timing right now. I want to thank our great crew here. Had all season. It's been a pleasure to work with Stephanie White, who we will see as the head coach of the Indiana Fever during the summer. I love when they call fouls right before the final buzzer. Nothing like it. We'll continue to stay with ESPN and ABC. It's going to be an exciting tournament.
The clock will be set to 0.4 seconds. Number 12 will have 2 shots.
A little feedback. Corey Close talked about how her team feeling disrespected, and as you mentioned, Steph, the way to combat that, you just keep winning. And they're going to get another W tonight, and we will see them on Sunday.
No, I think you keep the main thing, right? You focus on the things that you can control, and the outside noise is not it. So you come in and you go to work every day, and you play for each other, and it's a staple of Corey Close and her program.
UCLA is elite. They will play in their first elite 8 games since 2018, and they will take on LSU on Sunday. Lauren Betts, absolutely brilliant, and what a career. Congratulations to Madison Scott for things she did both on and off the court in that Ole Miss uniform. But it was too much Betts, too much UCLA as they take it by the final of 76-62. So let's put them through. It is official. UCLA, LSU will play at 3 Eastern time on Sunday. That is noon here in Spokane. And we will see USC, Kansas State, and OU and UConn tomorrow on ESPN as they try to get a spot into the Elite 8 and get one step closer to Tampa.
Tip-off, game 1 will be at 2:30 p.m. Thank you. you for attending.
UCLA taking it 76-62. Holly Rowe is going to grab Lauren Betts for us.
See you tomorrow.
All right, Betts waving to the folks, and now here she is with Holly. Go, Holly.
A lot of celebration for your team right now. Another step towards your goal. How hard was it tonight?
This is a really tough game. I mean, Ole Miss is a really good team. They're really aggressive, really physical. I think it took a lot of grit out of all of us, and I'm really proud of everybody.
This game was a one-point game at the half. Same thing against Richmond. It was tied at the half. Last two games. What is special about this team that you find your resilience in the second half?
I think we just hold each other accountable. We know what to do. Sometimes we just don't do it the first half, but I think we came out the second half a lot more aggressive. We finally boxed out, so once we get, make them take one shot, it's over. We can play in transition.
Two other people in the last 25 years have done what you've done in the last two games. Brittany Griner and Elena Deladon. What is it like to be in company like that with the performance you're having in the tournament?
Listen, the fact that I'm even in a conversation with those two is insane. I look up to both of them so much, so that's unbelievable. I'm just very grateful.
A rematch with LSU. You played them last year in the Sweet 16. Anissa Mora leads the country in rebounds. What will that be like again?
Yeah, we have to come out with just a really, tough mentality. I mean, we can't come out soft. We have to be super aggressive, physical. We're not going to get, our butts kicked by anybody. We got to be the more physical team.
All right. Thank you, Lauren.
Thank you so much, Holly.
All right, we will see them against LSU. As Holly mentioned, it was LSU that ended UCLA's season last year in the Sweet 16. So for Holly Rowe and Stephanie White, I'm Pam Ward. As we say so long, Sweet 16 continues tomorrow, starting at 1 Eastern on ABC, as we say good night from Spokane and hello to SportsCenter.